Hello, welcome back. As always, thank you for joining me today. And every now and then we take a pause out of what's been a long procession through the text of A Course in Miracles to answer some questions from you all and to address some topics of conversation. So today is going to serve as just such a day. And I get asked on occasion what my journey, my own personal journey is. How did the course find me? What has this been like for me personally? So I will share in some detail that today in this video. It's something that I've done in the past from time to time, but as you may have noticed, there are well over, I think, 1,300 videos or something like that. One could never be expected to parse through all 1,300 plus. So every now and then, it's worth dropping a little bit of this historical perspective, and perhaps you'll get something from it that relates directly to you. In fact, if you watch this to the end, you know you're going to, because nothing ever happens by accident. Huh. There are no accidents in salvation or ever. This has found you for a reason. So, along with this conversation about my own journey into A Course in Miracles and all of that, there will come a great big overarching question. How does this course deal with other spiritual and religious traditions? Oh, good question. Very good. What does it say about them? What is its relationship to them? All of that. Great questions indeed. Actually, let's say a few words about that. As you may be aware, and if you're brand new to this, let me make you aware that A Course in Miracles is a self-study curriculum. Self-study. You take what you're willing to take. The Course puts it this way. You take what you want to take at a given time. Let's say, rather, we take what we're willing to take at a given time. We allow what we're willing to allow on a given day. And that's what we do. We are involved in a self-study curriculum. So it's universal in theme. It applies to everybody. It's universal in application because we learn it by doing it. We learn it by putting it into practice with a heavy emphasis on the practice. As you well know, spirituality is all about experience. How can one have the experience without the practice? Well, it could happen in a blinding flash, but in the event that doesn't happen for you, we've got to put these ideas into practice where our experience demonstrates to us that the ideas are true. So here's the deal. Anyone can access this course. Anyone can do it. It makes absolutely no difference what your religious or spiritual background is or is not. It makes no difference what you're currently involved in your spiritual path, if anything. This course can serve as a standalone practice. It's done that for me for the last 13 years, or it could serve as an adjunct, helping you to illuminate your walk in another tradition. That's also a common use of this material. So whatever that looks like for you, welcome. Doesn't matter who you are, what your background is, doesn't matter what your gender is or where you're from in the world, doesn't make any difference the age that you are. Who cares? Your station in life, that's all completely irrelevant to this. It's accessible to everyone. So welcome. In relation to other traditions, let me be very, very clear about one thing. As a self-study curriculum, A Course in Miracles does not have a group of dedicated proselytizers going around and attempting to win converts, touting itself as the only way. It is but one of many spiritual traditions, which is obvious, isn't it? It's one of many doors, as I like to say, and I find that visual picture quite helpful. A door, a path. It's one of many. Here's the deal. They all lead to the same place, i.e., God, in the end, whether they say so or not. They don't even have to acknowledge it. They all lead to the same place in the end. Which door you personally choose to open will ultimately be the door that you're called to open. The one that you're connected to, if you want to put it that way. The one you're drawn to and resonate with, all that. All roads lead to the same place in the end, God. Where else are they going to go? So it doesn't make any difference which one you open and enter into. That's a long-winded way of saying that this course is not superior to any other tradition, nor is it inferior to any other tradition. Here in the world of form, where there appear to be lots of spiritual traditions, it's one of many doors. And what it's teaching us is that there is no better than or less than, more effective or less effective, higher or lower, better or worse. There is no separation of any kind, and those are all separation ideas that imply duality, that imply a subject and an object, a separation. There is no separation of any kind. So this course is not saying it's better than any other tradition. Now, that may or may not be deeply meaningful to you. I don't know, it may not be meaningful at all. But to the extent that it is, I think that my own personal story may be something that a lot of you can relate to. See, I was raised in not one, but two rather fundamentalist Christian traditions in the United States. Say no more. I can hear a lot of you laughing. And yeah, you know, it is what it is. The first rather fundamentalist Christian tradition my parents left, they just kind of stopped going to church. And then my mom got my younger sister and me involved in another fundamentalist Christian tradition that I left on my own as a teenager. So, by fundamentalist, I refer to a prevailing attitude in many religious and spiritual groups that we own the truth. It's our way or the highway to hell. Yeah. We monopolize the truth. And did you know? Now, let us kindly inform you that our building is the only building. You see all those other buildings? Well, they're not the real building. We own the truth right here at 11 o'clock every Sunday. That building across the street? Nothing. The truth is ours. Monopoly. Can you relate? I never swallowed. Oh, well, let's put it that way. Not at all. So, as a practitioner of A Course in Miracles, as a course student, this has given me a profound forgiveness opportunity, about which I've said quite a lot in these videos. Yeah, I mean, it has. But I was that kid in Sunday school sitting there thinking, no way is God jealous. That does not make sense to me. It does not add up. How can God be jealous and vindictive and mean and wish to punish if in the same sentence I'm being told he's love? Love doesn't punish, does it? No. I never bought what I was being fed. And it wasn't exactly force fed like the gavage. It wasn't quite like that. However, I sat there through many a Sunday school lesson thinking, I don't buy any of this. God's not jealous. How could perfect love be jealous? And how, in any way, could perfect love condemn? Exactly. If you have formulated the thought that, well, it can't. Exactly. Of course it can't. So I never bought that a vast percentage of the world's population was doomed to a fiery, hot bubbling hell because they didn't go to one particular building at 11 o'clock on Sunday. It doesn't make sense that love would exclude, huh? See where we're going with this. You've gone there yourself, or you wouldn't be here. It doesn't mean that you have to have had this kind of a background, but that's the backdrop in the United States. I can hear you laughing. A rather conservative place. Huh. Yeah. Well, so it is what it is. Right? I sat there thinking, no way does perfect love condemn. Not even. And well, when I got my driver's license at age 15, my sister and I, she's younger than I am, so we would take the car. Our mom, who incidentally got us involved in all this, stopped going, but wanted to send my sister and me to church. So, having been through the entire Bible multiple times, I mean, knowing it pretty well, I was able to drive off on a Sunday morning, and my sister and I would go for coffee or go for a hike or something. And when we were inevitably asked later on in the day what we learned in Sunday school, we would spout off something. And I don't think she ever really believed us because she gave up after a while, but that's how we all left. I never was able to go along with the groupthink notion that perfect love can condemn. It cannot. It does not. It does not. Nor did I believe in sin. Well, let me just say something here. God has no ego to be offended. There is no separation of any kind. So how can one supposedly separate being give offense to another? It's not possible. Think about that. It's not possible. One cannot transgress against another. When years later, A Course in Miracles found me, it was like a light going on. It really was. It was like a bright light switch going on. the ideas made sense on a very profound level. And this was 2012, roughly, when I discovered the course, or shall we really more accurately say, it found me, and 2013, when I began to practice it. So your journey could look very, very different. I began to teach the course in 2018 in a series of in-person workshops, study groups, that sort of thing. And this video series has been online since 2021. So hence the 1,300 plus videos. It's a lot for sure. But this one will find you should you be meant to hear this message. And this really is something that resonates with a lot of people because there are a lot of people out there that consider themselves seekers or whatever terminology one wishes to use here, looking around in this vast, widespread spiritual marketplace for a home, so to speak, for something that makes sense to them. And a number of them find themselves right here. Perhaps you're one of them. And perhaps you're just checking this out and you're not yet a course student. Well, you've watched this video for some length of time. So something has to have landed for you. That's the Holy Spirit speaking to you, always, by the way. What you're looking at, as I'm fond of saying, is a pixelated image on your screen. It's a delivery mechanism. That's all. When something connects, it's the Holy Spirit, always. This is always going to be true, no matter what the delivery mechanism may look like. And perhaps it doesn't have a form, and it's an idea that pops into your head. Oh, Holy Spirit. Hmm. Yeah. So I hope that this is somewhat helpful to you. There are a lot of people who carry lots of weight and baggage from their upbringing, from their religious, from their spiritual upbringing, whatever the tradition is or was. And there are a lot of opportunities out there for forgiveness, as this course teaches it, and as we're invited to practice it. One forgiveness opportunity at a time. Anything that is not wholly and totally joyous in your experience is an opportunity to forgive. So we're invited to be aware of those, to pay attention, cultivate present moment awareness. Ooh, that might sound familiar, huh? Well, why is that important? Why is that a thing in spirituality? So that we can do this, so that we can return our awareness to true forgiveness or whatever your anchor is. Get distracted, carried away. Bring your awareness back to true forgiveness of the Son of God. Any students of Buddhism here? Yeah, that's going to seem super, super familiar, as is the Course's widespread use of the term ego. Huh. So you're here. I hope this has been of some use for you. You're more than welcome to ask me any questions should you have them. This comment thread on YouTube is the perfect place to do so. Subscribe too, by the way, please do that if you haven't. That's the prompt in the corner of your screen. Click that icon and join us. Several videos appear each week because, as we said at the outset, we're going through the text of A Course in Miracles, and there are frequent pauses given to address questions and hot topics. So, yeah, ask questions if you've got them, if you don't mind. I'd love to hear from you. And even if you just wish to pop in here and say hello, I would love to hear from you. Thank you for joining me. Talk to you soon.